Bug Implementer.
Welcome back to the daily practice sessions where we are going to learn how to use the Godot game engine and how to script. In this one we are going to practice changing properties, using the documentation and calling methods. You go through all of those properties, try to print them out, change them and print them out again. And you go through all of those methods and basically just call them. For this, I recommend you to create a 2D scene, call it maybe main, save it, add another node 2D to it. So we have two nodes, node 2Ds, a parent node and a child node, and add a script to the child node right here. Now we can start to practice. We will use the ready function once again because it's so handy. It gets called once when we hit the play button basically, which is great. You are going to use the documentation, the built-in documentation, to search for your properties. Here's the list and we start with global position, which is of type Vector2. Global position is the property name we need to refer to, and first of all, we want to print it. Print. So wrap a print statement around it. And now let's just print it out. And we get our value. The next step is to change it. Global position equals. Let's change it to a new value. And to figure out how to do this, we need to click on node 2D. And if we do not have a default value right here, like in this case, and we did not know how to construct a Vector2, we could always click on this type right here, scroll down a bit and look for the constructors. And this tells us to construct a Vector2 type, we need to write Vector2 and do brackets. And we have different options. We could construct it like this, we could construct it like this, or we could construct it like this. And we did all the time this one, and we will keep on doing it like this. Do the brackets, add a X component and a Y component to it, which both are of type float. And if you look closely, this one gets presented to us in the tooltip when we start constructing this Vector2 type, Vector2. And now you can see this is exactly the same we saw in the documentation of the Vector2 class right here. So that's where this tooltip is coming from basically. Now let's see, we want to put in an X value. You could always hit space to get back the tooltip. And now you can see we will use this constructor right here. So X value and Y value, which both are of type float. So 1.0 for example and 2.0. And now we are going to print the global position after we changed it. And now you see in the output, this is the global position before we changed it. And this is the global position after we changed it. So remember, this is the order of execution from top to bottom. So we print out this global position. In this line, we change or overwrite it, reassigning it. And after the reassignment or after overwriting it, we print it out again. Okay, this was the first property. Now you go to the next one, which is global rotation of type float. Global rotation. We need to print it. Then we change it. Global rotation. It needs a floating point value as we saw. Float. Okay, so let's put something in and print it out. Print global rotation. And now before the changes, after the changes. We will encounter one new variant type that we did not encounter yet. which is the transform2D. So I will show you how to change it and how to break it down if you do not know the value type you are playing around with. Global transform, we call it. We print it out. Print global transform. Okay, this is what we get. You can check it out then. Okay, what is this? Global transform2D. If you do not know what it is, just click on it. And now you get some information about this built-in variant type right here. And the most important for us is the constructor. We want to know how to construct a value of this type. And now we can see there are different ways to construct it. Like this, we could do it like this, we could do it like this, we could do it like this. And for now, I want you to do it like this, the last one. So basically adding 3 Vector2 parameters inside of this transform2D constructor. Global transform, and we want to override it with a transform2D, do the brackets, and now we get the autocompletion, which is the constructor section of this variant type. And we want to use the bottom one. So we need to put in 3 parameters. They should all be of type Vector2. Okay. So let's start with the first one, Vector2, 2.0, 2.0, comma separated. The second Vector2, Vector2. Let's make it some arbitrary values. And the last one, which is the origin, Vector2. And let's give it 2 arbitrary values. After we changed it and we do not have any error messages right here, we print the global transform again after the changes. Global transform before the changes and global transform after the changes. So this is the end boss you will encounter in this practice. The other values you already know, Vector2, float, and yeah, that's it. We have 3 types. Vector2, float, and transform2D. Now let's check out the methods and how to call them. We start with apply scale, and we see it does not return something, so we cannot print it. It just does something. Let's check out what it actually does. Apply scale multiplies the current scale by a ratio vector. Okay, so the current scale, which is the scale property, this gives you a hint to it does something with the scale property. Let's delete all of it and call the method apply scale. We need to put a Vector2 parameter inside of it, Vector2, and now I want to print out the scale property before and after. And now you can see before the changes, the scale property is 1.0. After we call the apply scale method, it is 2.0 and 2.0. So this method right here changes the scale property. And we know that because you can read it from the documentation description right here. Multiplies the current scale. This really refers to this scale property right here. So let's check out the next one. Get angle 2. This one returns a value, so it calculates something, and after it is finished it returns something, and it needs 1 parameter. Let's call the get angle 2 method. Get angle 2, and we need a point parameter which is of type Vector2, Vector2, and as we know, this one returns a floating point value which represents the angle in radians. So basically we have to know, okay, the method returns something, so we can print it out. Print, and we get a value, which is a floating point value. There is an order of execution from top to bottom, and also from inside to outside. So this right here gets resolved first, and it literally returns the value we see down below. So first step is this. Second step would be this, 0.78, and so on. And the last step is that the print statement is executed, and then it gets put down right here. So first step, second step, last step. Also important to keep in the back of your head. So this is meant by this method returns a value. It literally returns a value. It calculates something and it returns it so that we then can print it out. Okay, this is what we do with methods that return something. Then we have this one special case right here, which is the transform2D get relative transform to parent. Get relative transform to parent. And we need a parent node. This method takes in a parameter of type node. So we need a node. We can check it out here. If we do not know what the node type is, we can click on it and we see the description of the class node. So now the last thing we need to combine in our head is that every class that inherits from node also is of type node. That's all you need to know. So node2D is of type node because it inherits the node class. So this basically means the node2D class is of type node. Okay, so we can put in the node2D node right here. We already know how to access parent nodes inside of a child node. It was the $sign and something like this to climb up the tree. And now we can print this out and we get a transform2D back. And that's the practice for today. You go through all of those properties, try to print them out, change them and print them out again. And you go through all of those methods and basically just call them. You can, if you see something in the description of those methods, like the scale property is being changed, or maybe like here adds the offset vector to the node's global position, you can print out those properties to figure out what this method actually changes, but not needed. I just want you to be able to call all of those methods and practice it. It's all about getting more confident with the documentation. So have fun, do not rush, and see ya in the next one.